Hey everyone, are you feeling thirsty? If you are, it's probably because you've not yet drunk all of your daily required 64 ounces of fluid. I mean, you guys all know the rules, right? 8-ounce glasses of water every day. More if it's hot, even more if you're exercising, right? So Dr. CYWES recently asked me where these recommendations came from. And as it happens, I myself have wondered the same thing. And I've done some digging, and we thought that you might be curious about what I found. So our bodies are, on average, 60% water. Now there's a range depending on your age and your body composition in terms of body fat and muscular mass. But water is essential for cellular homeostasis and for vascular volume maintenance. So that's just fancy science terminology. What it means, essentially, is that our blood and our cells are made up of water. For sure, dehydration is a serious issue. It can be caused by fever, diarrhea, exercise, hot weather, dry environments, and even altitude. And certain diseases may require a person to consume more fluid than another person, and the elderly may lose their sense of thirst, and they have to be a little bit more conscious perhaps of how much fluid they're consuming in the day. Even mild dehydration can cause fatigue, dizziness, headaches, and reduce ability to concentrate. As dehydration progresses, the blood volume will decrease, which causes a rise in blood pressure and heart rate. And if the situation is not resolved, kidney failure, seizures, delirium, and even coma can result. To prevent these dire outcomes, the claim of 8 times 8 ounces of water has become accepted wisdom. But where did that come from? This may surprise you, but this advice did not come from a metabolic research lab overseen by serious scientists in white lab coats. In fact, it seems that this advice came to us in 1945 as simply a recommendation from the National Research Council's Food and Nutrition Board, who simply proposed that we consume 1 milliliter of water for every kilocalorie we consume. For a person in energy balance at 2,000 kilocalories per day, this equals 2 liters of water per day, which is the same as 64 ounces, or yes, 8 times 8 ounces of water per day. In 1974, famed nutritionist Dr. Frederick Stare of the Harvard School of Public Health claimed that 6 to 8 glasses of water were necessary for each day. But, and this is a key point here, both his and the NRC's recommendations noted that most of this water can come from our food. And certainly it was accounted for when they included beverages like coffee and tea. But somehow this part was forgotten over time, and we were left simply with the recommendations of 8 times 8 ounces of water. But let's look at food sources of water. Iceberg lettuce, for example, is 96% water. A boiled potato is 77% water. Ribeye steak is 65% water. And Swiss cheese is 38% water. Even butter is 16% water. So even without that glass of water with your meal, or perhaps a nice glass of South African wine, know that you're still getting a significant amount of water with your food. Another consideration is something called metabolic water. This is something that's formed during cellular metabolism. For example, your body is constantly churning out ATP, the molecule that provides us with energy for everything that we do. And water is a byproduct of those biochemical processes. Your body conserves this water and stores it for later use. So if we return to the example of the 2,000 kilocalorie diet, we can expect that 750 milliliters of water will come from our food. Another 350 milliliters of water will come from that metabolic water. And so this means that even if we say we need 2 liters, in fact, in taking all of that into account, the requirements are now really only 1,000 milliliters. And don't forget that soups, sauces, all your beverages, coffee and tea, everything counts to that 1,000 milliliters. So much for carrying around this giant bottle of water. As it happens, Dr. CYWES and I are not the only ones to wonder where these recommendations come from. In 2002, Heinz Walton looked into the history of the adage to drink 64 ounces of water per day and found that rigorous proof for this advice was entirely lacking. He was unable to find any scientific research to back up the claim that 8 times 8 ounces of water are needed daily. And in fact, there's evidence that there may instead be a potential for harm related to incontinence and hyponatremia. Hyponatremia, or water intoxication, results when a large amount of water dilutes the sodium in the blood. Our bodies always strive to maintain homeostasis or balance, so in an effort to return sodium concentration to the necessary levels, our cells will draw in water through osmosis to create that balance. But too much water inside the cells isn't good either, and it may not even be adequate if there's a lot of water being consumed. The result of hyponatremia is headache, blurred vision, muscle cramps, convulsions, and even in rare cases, death. Now, this is not likely to happen if you're drinking 64 ounces of water throughout the day. That's more likely to just send you to the bathroom than anything else. However, there are certain situations where hyponatremia can be a problem. For example, in endurance events, such as a marathon, typically in slower runners who drink water at every aid station. So to prevent this situation, it's really, really important to consume sodium with your water. Of course, that's the rationale behind the development of Gatorade. But we all know that you don't have to drink the sugar with the water and the salt. But I do want to make sure that you know that when you are drinking that water outside under hot circumstances, just make sure in an ideal situation your sports drink will have 100 milligrams of sodium for 8 ounces of water. Okay, so what if you're a regular person just going about your day? What should you do? Walton states that while a rise in plasma osmolality of less than 2% can elicit thirst, dehydration is defined as a rise of at least 5%. Now, without going into a lengthy explanation of what osmolality means, simply understand that this is a complicated way of saying that you will get thirsty before your body begins to suffer from dehydration. In other words, your thirst is a good guide to tell you how much water you need. So, under normal circumstances, just keep doing what you're already doing and let your thirst be your guide. And if you plan on doing an endurance event or any kind of prolonged, intense exercise in the heat or any kind of other situation where you think you might be sweating a lot or losing some water, just make sure that you're getting a beverage that has 100 milligrams of sodium per 8 ounces of water. I hope this has cleared up some of the mystique about the 64 ounces of water daily requirement and that you found this interesting. Thank you so much for watching.